Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your boy, Nolan Hawkeye Anthony here, and I hope you guys have had a fantastic week wherever you may be and however you may be listening. I got an awesome show for you guys today, one in which I've already done. I already recorded, but unfortunately, the audio was not as good as it could have been and should have been. And also, I am recording this on the morning of the Iowa-Maryland game. Should be a very, very fun game. I'm excited. I think that this game is even more important towards Iowa's season than many of us had realized before the season actually started. Iowa has a chance, and I'm going to be talking about this big time, to by this time next Monday, Iowa has a chance to have a resounding 2-game lead over many of the top contenders in the Big Ten West. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. Today, we are taking a look at recent Iowa tight end commit, Cael Vanderbush, the 6'6", talented, big-framed football player out of Indiana. But before we do that, I want you guys to check out 247hawkeye.com, and I really hope that you guys consider hitting that subscribe button. In the past week alone, the channel has jumped up about 100 subs, and I always say this, and I'll say it again. It's not because I'm talented. It's because you guys are awesome. Your fandom is awesome, and I will never, ever forget that. I think it is very important to respect the relationship that someone who is on my end of the screen has with you guys, the fan, and I will never forget that. Also, be sure to come and hang out at the pregame show before Iowa and Maryland, but I do it for every game. So be sure to come and hang out for that. It's usually about an hour, maybe 2 hours before the actual kickoff for the game. And I do a post-game show for that as well. And last but not least, if you want to support the channel, the PayPal link is in the description. And without further ado, let's get into this. So what is different about this frame from the last beginning of the video or so? Comment in the description to tell me what is new in this part of the video. Anyways, let's take a look here at Cael Vanderbush. And before, obviously, I've seen his highlights because I already made this video. Also, I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit of water polo highlights because some of you guys keep asking me, Nolan, what's water polo? What's water polo? And I get it. Water polo largely does not exist in the Midwest because it's too cold. I did play a team in high school out of Missouri, and they were good. They were good. But I would be surprised if the state of Iowa has any water polo teams. It's by and large a coastal sport, and I will show you guys some of the highlights. And that is the sport I play Division I water polo or sports in. And that is that. Like I said, I've already seen Cael Vanderbush's highlights, and Iowa really got a steal here, guys. You know I say that about nearly every recruit, but it's because I believe it. I mean, I can see what the Iowa coaches see that makes them so excited. Now, ultimately, I also know that out of, let's say there's 20 guys in a recruiting class, maybe 8 will become starters for 1 or more years. That's it. Okay. Most of the recruiting class will be what you would call, what is the word? Role players, Nolan. That's what they're called, role players. And that's fine. I remember one of the very first meetings that I had when I got to college was to talk about that very thing, that that if you are expecting to come here and be a star from the get-go, you are sorely and sadly mistaken. And it was true, because that level is just so competitive. And it takes even the smallest difference between individual to individual makes a huge difference in who is here and who is a little bit below. But anyways, back to Cael Vanderbush. What I really like about this guy, and it seems this way for the entire Iowa recruiting class, and I'll show you guys what I mean, is he's a multi-sport athlete. He plays basketball and he plays football. And I believe in the article I read, they said that he will be competing in track. And one of the big reasons that I've told you guys that I like multi-sport athletes so much is for a few reasons. Number one, it teaches these guys how to compete, which is uber important. Okay. When you get to that level, you need to know how to be a competitor and compete against the best of the best. And that's what playing multiple sports does. The other thing from a coach's perspective is when a guy separates all of his time into multiple sports, and then he can, and you see what he is with putting all this different time into other sports, you imagine what he can be when he puts all of his time into one sport. And that is enticing. And Iowa has an excellent track record showing that that is something that is a very real thing. The third reason that playing multiple sports helps is on the athlete level is it allows them to take multiple things from multiple sports and interject it into their own sport that other guys don't know how to do. And yes, that is a very important skill to have. So we take a look here. I'm pretty sure Aaron Graves wrestles, does track, does football. Not sure about Josiah Patterson. Jacob Bostic, the wide receiver. Shout out to Jacob Bostic and his family. They great family, very supportive of the channel, or as much so as anybody else. But he competes in multiple sports. I believe Caden Crawford does as well. Cael Crow does as well. Cael Vanderbush does. Addison Ostrenga does. So over half of Iowa's 2022 recruiting class plays multiple sports in high school. And I think that that is excellent. One of the things that they say about kids that come out of the state of Texas is that they are already finished products because they have grown up playing football. And that's not, Iowa does not tend to go after guys like that. They want guys that they can continue to develop once they get to Iowa. And I tend to agree. I like that a lot. All right, transitioning here for a moment. We're going to take a look, courtesy of 247 Sports. We're going to take a look at some of the tight ends because I want to tell you guys kind of what was going on at the tight end position recruiting wise for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa swung and missed, plain and simple. And actually, I need to go even further back. I need to go to last year so that you guys see the entire picture here, okay? And overall, the reason why Iowa, especially in the state of Iowa, swung and missed on multiple guys is because they couldn't show off their number one attribute, which is their culture and atmosphere. That is a huge thing. And then obviously the allegations were tough, and one of the recruiting coordinators or directors, I'm blanking at Tyler Barnes, said in a tweet that if you need to negatively recruit on the recruiting trail, basically that's not a good thing. And I remember seeing that and just thinking to myself, dude, who are you kidding? Everybody negatively recruits. I remember in my recruitment, at least a quarter of the things that other coaches said to me were bad things about the other school as to make their school look better. And I'm not saying Iowa does that, but I'm saying it's not as crazy or out of bounds as Tyler Barnes made it out to be. So anyways, those are the reasons Iowa was struggling. And then even more specifically at the tight end position, as good as Iowa has been at developing the tight end, Brian Ferentz had some very straightforward towards him allegations. And again, I'm calling them allegations, and that's just the facts of the matter. And so it did kind of hurt him a little bit. So anyways, Iowa's top tight end prospect in 2021 was Thomas Fidone out of Iowa. And yeah, that was a huge swing and a miss. Iowa, the bottom line is Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, those schools, it doesn't matter if some kid has, a family relation to a certain school or whatever. They find a way to get that kid to their school. And all I'm saying is that Iowa should have beat out Nebraska, even if his dad went to Nebraska for him to come to Iowa. But they didn't. Now, is this the worst swing and miss in the world? No, but it's not good. He was in state. He was at the tight end position, a position Iowa coaches very well. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. Going down the list here a little bit, the bottom three guys Iowa swung and missed on as well. The guy that they were in on the most was James Carney out of Nebraska. And guess what? He ended up going to Nebraska as well. So Iowa ended up not taking any scholarship tight ends, but they did take some solid, very solid preferred walk-on tight ends that I think, had it been a normal year, Iowa or some other Division I schools would have offered them, and they would have probably went there. Fast forward to 2022, Iowa was heavily in on in-state tight end Eli Raritan, who once again spurned Iowa for his father's school, Notre Dame, which again is not the worst thing in the world. It is Notre Dame, a very excellent school that is very solid in football currently. But again, he's in state, and it's the tight end position in which Iowa is excellent at. Iowa swung and missed on Micah Riley Ducker, who grew up an Iowa Hawkeye fan. And they didn't swing and miss on him to a regional school. They missed on him for Auburn. Who's Auburn? And then Andrew Keller here, his teammate had Jack Dotzler, who you guys can watch the analysis video in one of the playlists. He was expected to go to Iowa, and he spurned Iowa and went to Iowa State as well. Iowa was also heavily in on Chris Petrucci early on in the process, and then he decided to go to Northwestern. Now, with all of that said, the two tight ends Iowa was able to get are very solid, and I'm very happy about it. If there is one position Iowa does not need to get highly recruited guys, it is tight end. They can take an athletic guy with a lot of upside and turn him into exactly what we saw with Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson, and guys just like that. By the way, the other tight end commit Iowa has, you can also watch that video in the Iowa recruiting playlist on my channel as well, who was actually a Iowa baseball commit before deciding to play football at Iowa. And I had a chance to talk with Addison a little bit, and he seems like a great guy, great get for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now back to Cael. He stands at 6'6", and he kind of reminds me of Luke Lachey a little bit. Very smooth athlete, very long with a huge catch radius. Iowa tends to get guys at the tight end position who are long and smooth athletes, or a little bit shorter, like Sam Laporta at 6'4", 6'3", or George Kittle 6'3", 6'4", that are a little bit more compact but quicker with the point of attack and route running. Those are the guys that they tend to like right now. So he has an excellent frame, and he will, right now he weighs 200 pounds, 2 bills, 2 dubs. And I fully expect that to go up before he gets to Iowa. And so he should be good there. Currently, he is graded as an 83 by 247 Sports, but I absolutely expect that to go up. One of the high-level recruiting guys for 247 Sports wrote an article about Cael, basically saying that Iowa found another gem. So I expect his ranking to go up significantly. This is his ranking by Rivals. They have him graded as a 5.6. And just so you guys can see the major offers he had an offer from Air Force Academy, Utah Utes, and Western Michigan. And had Iowa not gotten in on him, I fully expect that he would have had offers from others as well. Here, let me get this situated. So next, I'm going to read you guys an article that Blackheart Gold Pants wrote up on him. And just so you guys have a little bit more background on who Cael Vanderbush is and who the Hawkeyes are getting here, let me minimize this a little bit. And when I show you guys the highlights, I'm going to show you guys both his basketball and football highlights. And I think it really is important, especially at the tight end position, to do so. The Iowa Hawkeyes have been rolling through the month of September. Iowa is riding a 10-game winning streak that dates back to week 3 of the 2020 season and are enjoying their 3rd consecutive week in the AP Top 5. Can you guys imagine had Iowa and the Big Ten not played a season last year? Where Iowa currently is and what we think of Iowa, how much different would that be had Iowa not went 6-2 last year and finished for the 3rd straight time top 25 and 2nd straight? I am so happy that I fought for the season to actually be played. I am very happy that I did that. Anyways, and don't forget how awesome it is to see the fans at the stadium. Anyways, that type of success on the field is likely to aid the Iowa coaching staff as they hit the recruiting trail. Very true. I agree. Iowa is expected to take 15 commits. They have, let me see here. It's either 10 or 11. It's 11 if you count the preferred walk-on kicker, Drew Stevens, out of South Carolina. So I'm going to go with 11, but it is 10 full scholarship players right as of right now. And I believe with their remaining 5 full scholarships, because they're expected to take 15, maybe 16, 17 guys, depending on what happens, which you'll hear later in the article. I think Iowa needs to swing big. Now, if it's a guy that they really, really like and he's under the radar, fine, go ahead. But I really think with these remaining spots, they need to put all their time and energy on guys like Xavier Nwankpa and some other high-name guys that decommit or haven't decided, haven't found the right school, and things like that. Anyways, back to the article. Last weekend was no different as Iowa played host to more than 20 prospects in the classes of 2022, 23, and beyond. One such visitor was Indiana tight end Cael Vanderbush, a relatively new name on the Hawkeye board. His visit came with limited attention ahead of time. That changed on Saturday as the Iowa staff had seen enough to make an offer. Have you guys ever seen that movie, Enough, with J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez? Here is his offer right here. Vanderbush said, I found out in the car as I was leaving, and I was very excited. I really like Iowa and the opportunity to play there with the great atmosphere and traditions they have at Kinnick. And this is just a great example of what I was telling you guys about Iowa's top selling aspect, which is their culture, their atmosphere, the family vibe that you get when you go there and fans are around. The Iowa fans are some of the best in the country. And had this been the COOF part of the COOF still is going on, but had this been full swing COOF, I don't think he would have committed. I think he would have waited because he just was not completely sold on Iowa. But luckily, that did not happen. He was excited enough to decommit from Western Michigan on Saturday while he tried to play things close to the vest, telling Hawkeye Report he hadn't made any decisions yet. He was quick to pull the trigger as he officially announced his commitment to the Iowa Hawkeyes on Monday evening. Here's his commitment photo. Vanderbush is an intriguing prospect at 6'6" and 2 dubs, 2 bills. He has a great frame for the tight end position, but he's demonstrated enough speed and athleticism through the first 5 games of his senior season to convince at least one site that he could end up playing receiver at the next level. And I got to tell you, that is true. If Iowa really needed to take him as a wide receiver, they probably could. They won't, because right now the wide receiver room is full and healthy and all good, but they could. That's not likely to be the case at Iowa, which recruited him at tight end, but Hawkeye fans should be excited about what they see on film with the Indiana native. He has plus speed for the tight end position, as you might guess, for a player who was believed capable of playing wide receiver at the Division I level, and his catch radius is enormous. Enormous. He is also a willing and capable blocker, as evidenced by some punishing finishes against interior defense. Here is a nice video. Little reverse jam action. Through 5 games, Vanderbush has 509 yards and 4 tubs on 21 receptions, 24.2 yards per catch. Wow. That comes on the heels of a junior campaign that saw him put up 743 yards and 6 tubs on 44 catches. Let's see here. While his recruitment started relatively slow with offers from Air Force and Western Mij, the early showing this year has garnered new interest from Power 5 suitors. That included an offer from Utah as well as the Hawkeyes over the weekend. It also, just so you guys know, his dad played at Michigan State. I can't remember where I saw that. I thought I saw that in this. With the addition of Vanderbush, Iowa's class of 22 now sits at 10 total commitments. Cael joins Wisconsin native Addison Ostrenga as Iowa's second tight end. The Hawkeyes are likely done at the position, but could potentially look at a third tight end, given they took none in last year's class. The reason why I bring up the fact that his dad played at Michigan State is because it's always good to have family ties, a good family background that shows an example of what type of young man you can become. I remember when I was going through recruiting, they extensively looked at my family. And that is just something that happens. All right, let's check out his there's a video that shows all of his dunks, just a bunch of his dunks. So let me see if I can find that for y'all and put that up. There was a video. Wow. Let's just watch this from the beginning. There was a video that showed him dunking. Literally, the highlights were called Cael Vanderbush's dunking. That's what the highlights were called. But this will work just fine here. Let's see if I can get rid of this. What is this? Ooh. Wow. Yeah, he gets up off of his 2 feet like this. It is very explosive. He also has a smooth jumper. And I do like the veracity in which he dunks the ball at. I really, really do. I'm going to have you guys watch it on this because I just don't want to have 247 Sports at the very top of the thing over and over. Yeah. Yacked it. Yeah, I can't dunk the ball anymore. Can't do it. I have not forgotten about the water polo highlights either. I will show you guys what water polo is. Yeah, I'm very impressed by the way he can get off, how quickly he gets off his 2 feet. And that does what that shows is explosion. How fast you can get off the ground shows explosion. And that really matters in football, where you don't choose football. Football chooses you, baby. And it is very, very important. But for me, the fact that he hoops, I especially like at the tight end position. I've told you guys before that one of my good buddies in high school, a year older than me, I'll actually pull up his profile for you guys. Jalen Fitzpatrick. He was a 4-star tight end. I'll pull him up here real quick.